Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, and our sponsor for tonight's show is 1 Minute Motivation Podcast. But welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have special guest, Esha Herbert-Davis, founder of Events by Ashé, LLC. Esha is a former HR professional turned industry niche creator, multiple six-figure business owner, international best-selling author, dynamic speaker, and love mentor to female professionals. She's the Carnivalista and chief of Events by Ashé, a travel curation company that creates unique and life-changing Caribbean experiences for professional women who don't have the time or energy to plan their own vacations. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Miss Esha Herbert-Davis. Hello, Miss Esha.
Hello there, Kimberly.
How are you? I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am well. As best as I can be right now during this time.
Yeah, I think that's like the number one question that we all have been asking ourselves for the last year now. So I never thought I would be saying a year from now, pretty much. We're kind of right around that corner, you know. But why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more about who you are and what makes Miss Esha Herbert-Davis so special?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And first of all, I just want to say thank you. You know, I'm all about showing appreciation and being grateful. I want to say thank you for the opportunity. I have listened to your podcast and I love it. You know, I just love your energy. I love the energy of your guests. So thank you so much for including me in your tribe. I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem. So a little bit about me, everyone who's listening. Hello. And Kimberly, it is Esha. So Esha Herbert-Davis here.
I'm still getting it wrong, right?
It's okay. Listen, when you grow up with a name like Esha, you just expect it. Don't even, it's not even a problem. So about me, goodness, I am the Carnivalista and chief of Events by Ashé, where we plan unique and life-changing Caribbean experiences for professional women who need to get away, and all of us need to get away right now. So that is, there are many of us in that boat right now. I am originally from Toronto, Canada. That's where I was born. I do have Caribbean parentage. Both of my parents are from the beautiful islands of Trinidad and Tobago. I did spend a part of my childhood there, and that ignited my love for Trinidadian culture and the carnival culture, which led me, you know, fast forward many years later, to being completely immersed in the culture and then starting a business from that. I met my husband at Trinidad Carnival as well. So there are just many things that have evolved throughout my life from having an intense love for the carnival culture, the Caribbean carnival culture. What else about me? My husband and I have been married for 10 years. We celebrated our 10th year anniversary this year. And we have a 3.5-year-old named Kwame.
Oh, beautiful name. So is he going to be interested in what you're doing? So that's going to be a conversation we're definitely going to be having, you know, with having the travel. And
Absolutely.
I figured
Absolutely. And he's been with us. Yeah, he's been with us before to Trinidad and Tobago, because my mom lives in Tobago. She still lives there. So, and he loves Tobago, you know, loves the beaches and, you know, the food. Oh my gosh, he just loves it all so far. So far, so good.
Right. Because, you know, it's like, hey, it's just me, you, and mom and dad. But then once he gets a little older, it's going to be like, I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
Well, that is awesome. So obviously you have definitely a lot of culture in your background, and, you know, a lot of these things have moved you forward into doing what you're doing. But let's kind of backtrack just a little bit, because you know, before having this beautiful business that you have, this travel business, you've done multiple six-figure businesses. You know, you are a multiple six-figure business owner. Talk about some of the other portions of your journey, and then what really inspired you to do the things that you are doing?
That's a great question. So for my event planning background, and not just travel, like corporate events and also personal event planning, spans over 20 years. And that is, as I said, both corporate and with personal. And my love of event planning, I just love putting all of the pieces together and paying attention to the details. That's what really, really gets me going, you know, and people look at me, you know, I've always gotten side eye, you know, like for most of my life from people, like, she's really excited about this. Why is she really excited about this? You know, but that's what I found that passion at a very early age. And my professional background was in human resources. And for some reason, one of the big projects that always fall on HR's shoulders are events. So all of the company picnics, barbecues, holiday parties, you know, for some reason, it just ends up at the HR department. So when I started my career in HR back in 2001, that was a big part of my job, you know, putting together all of these events. And I had already loved it, you know, doing personal events for my friends and planning trips with my friends to go to Trinidad Carnival every year, because I have been going to Trinidad Carnival for over 25 years now. So I had that love personally that spilled over to corporate for many, many years. And in 2010, of course, I met my husband at Carnival in 2006. And then in 2010, when thinking about my next move, you know, I was ready to kind of move out of human resources, at least full time at that point, and probably go more into consulting. And I wanted to start another passion business, you know, but something that I was already passionate about. And I thought, well, why not do event planning?
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So,
Exactly.
you know, at first, right? So that was marrying the best of at least one world for me. And then the Trinidad Carnival planning aspect of it didn't come until another year later, when my husband and I were, you know, talking over dinner, I believe, and we were actually comparing our first Trinidad Carnival experiences that we had, you know, and when we met in 2006, that was his first Trinidad Carnival, and that was probably my 8th by then.
Wow.
So, you know, we were kind of comparing our first experiences and what we didn't like, that it was so challenging to get costumes and party tickets and, you know, all of that stuff. And then I thought, if we're feeling like this, and I mean, I have Trinidadian blood, if I'm feeling like that, right? Are there other people out there who are feeling the same way, right, Kimberly?
Right.
So that was when the light bulb kind of went off. And we said, okay, well, let's do some research, kind of see how it goes, and did the research. There was nobody out there offering a package solution to take people to Trinidad Carnival. And this was 2011. So the idea was born, okay, Ultimate Trinidad Carnival. Let's put it out there, see if we get anybody to buy a package or two or three, and see what happens. And our first year, we had 13 people. Our first year was 2012. We had 13 people who bought a package from us. We took them to Trinidad Carnival, had a great time, and we've just been growing since then. 2021, which is this year, would have been our 10th anniversary. However, COVID has other plans.
Yes.
So we're hoping to get back on board in 2022.
Wow. Well, you know, the thing that's, you know, listening to your story, and obviously you always have this one friend or this one person in the pack that loves to do this. It's just, you know, even if they didn't love it, they're just better at coordinating and getting everybody together, because, you know, you always have one person's either missing this or missing that. And it's like, wait a minute, let me just do this myself.
That was always me.
Right. And you were the chosen one.
Yes. Yes, I was always the one friend. If anyone was like, oh, do you have tickets for so-so-so? Call Esha. Email Esha. She can get it for you. You know, I was the one friend. You are absolutely right.
Right. And, you know, and then, like I said, it poured even into your job. It was something you really enjoyed doing. But, knowing that you have that much passion. I think it's amazing and it's neat when you can figure out all of a sudden really what you're truly passionate about, and you can take that passion and turn it into something very viable. And, anybody who travels, it's a headache trying to coordinate everything together. But when you're traveling overseas and you're doing these international things, I can't even fathom. I think I've only done it a couple of times where I've gone on, maybe a Carnival cruise or whatever. And that was a headache. It was hell. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I hear you. I hear you. So that's where our services come in. We handle everything, accommodations, getting your costume, event tickets. All you really need to do, book your package, book your flight, pack, and show up. That's all you need to do when you're traveling with us in any of our group experiences.
Wow. And that's lovely. And, it's definitely perfect. Like you said, for the individual, even if you're not a professional per se, you're not so much worried about being in business, you just want to get away, and you just need to allow somebody to do it and, to do it the right way, because so many things can go wrong. And I'm sure you have seen that many of times. And like I said, with your own experiences is how you realize that if I'm going crazy doing this, everybody else who's trying this is definitely running into the same problems or even more, because you don't know the steps that you have to take in order to make this happen. And so you can just go there and have a good time instead of having to worry about, well, did I bring enough money, or did I, get the right room, or, how are we supposed to get around, all those little things that we take for granted. It's really very difficult. Yeah. And you said just even your basic everyday travel, and I travel consistently, so it's easy for me now because I'm so used to doing it. But in the beginning, it's just like, oh, you know what? I don't want to have to find these people to fly, and then I got to worry about getting a car, and then I got to figure out where am I going to stay, because you got to stay within the certain amount of money, So it's all these amazing things that you're doing to help others. But obviously, it was you talked. 2020 was the craziest year that we've all ever gone through. And obviously we're still kind of on that roller coaster ride. But what have you done to kind of keep the word out there, keep things alive, and make people realize that there are things that still can be done? Because, I hear a lot of people, even for myself, having to travel. I have found that it's been the most peaceful time to travel, because I'm not dealing with craziness. Right. What is it that you've done through the last, year to kind of keep people aware that, nothing is, it's not as good as it could be, but it's not that bad as well?
That's a really great question. And back in April last year, we were probably about a month into total lockdown, when all of us were just stay at home or under stay at home orders. I had a real moment. I think in that moment, it was coming to the realization that, okay, travel is going to be delayed, clearly. We'd already had 2 trips on the books at that point that were supposed to happen later on in 2020. And coming to a realization about that, and this is just how I am in my personal life and in my professional life. Okay, this is the issue. So the issue is travel is probably not going to be happening this year. Okay. Right. So just have that realization, come to grips with it, sit with it as much as you need to, Esha, but that is the reality. And in the second thought, of course, I started to feel sad about it and a little worried, frankly, but at the same point in time, I thought, okay, if this is how I am feeling, put myself in my client's shoes, put myself in my tribe's shoes, my audience's shoes, and what can I do to help them feel okay? What can I do to bring some joy to their day? What can I do to reassure, that, as you said, everything is not going crazy, Right. And I did a few things based on that. From a social media perspective, I started doing Facebook Lives every Friday. And during my Facebook Lives, I play music at the beginning. Wow. So I start off dancing, and it lifts my mood. It lifts the mood of anyone who watches it after the fact, or even if they tune in live, and talk about a topic. It could be carnival related. It could not be carnival related. It could be business related. But it's all at the aim to help. The aim to serve. So I started doing those in June and July of last year. I also did a series of virtual vacations because, again, travel wasn't happening, in real life travel wasn't happening anytime soon. So I started doing a series of virtual vacations. I picked 5 Caribbean islands and did virtual vacations there. And it was pretty successful. We had between 200 and 250 people sign up for that series. And that was completely free, So I kind of shifted in terms of, okay, how can I serve? How can I continue to engage? So when people are feeling safe again to get on a plane and travel, that they know that I'm here. Right. So that's really how things shifted for me. We've canceled 3 trips at this point. So we had 2 that were going to happen in 2020. And then, of course, Trinidad Carnival 2021 was going to happen in February this year, in actually 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So we had to cancel those 3, made sure that our customers were whole, no one lost any money. And we made that commitment from the beginning. If we are canceling anything due to COVID issues, then one of your options are a full refund. Of course, you can roll over your money to the next trip. So we made sure that our clients were taken care of, our clients were whole, and, kept looking forward. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? How else can we continue to serve? How else can we continue to bring joy? Because the Caribbean Carnival culture is all about joy, so much joy, intense joy,
Right.
So I had to be able to bring that to folks in a different way. So, there were other events that that happened throughout the year that had all of that in mind, but at least at the beginning of lockdown, those were some things that I did to quickly shift shift the narrative for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what people have been doing is, we had to pivot. You had to figure out a way to keep everybody engaged and, and realize that, we have this downtime, but there's so many other things that you can be doing. There's so many other things you can think about that you haven't done. And how do we make this work? But keeping people engaged about thinking about traveling, because I know everybody is biting a bit of the nails saying, look, I got to get out of here. I got to go do this. And, and like I tell people, as sad as it may seem, the traveling really is not that bad because, if you do decide to go to a resort or you do decide to travel, it's so quiet. It's so peaceful. You actually get an opportunity to really see things that you think you're seeing when you're there and you're not. It's kind of funny depending on where you go. So, it's kind of preparing people. But the way that you're doing a virtual travel experience, I think that is amazing. I would have never thought of that because it'll help people kind of get that mindset that, we'll get there, but here you can enjoy this moment. And then when we have the safety to go for real, you'll be able to get to really enjoy it the right way because you'll know what to look for. You'll know how to understand, what is better for you on this trip that you're looking to take. So I think that was a very good way of pivoting what you're doing for your business. So the other thing that I notice that you love is you love to mentor female professionals. Why is it so important to you to do that?
Oh goodness. Woo.
We got all night, girl. We got all night.
Yes. I'm having a moment. I just have been influenced and mentored by so many fantastic people throughout my life. There is no way I would be who I am right now without my village who raised me, and then I had many great professional mentors, when I was working in human resources. And then even as I pivoted to start an event planning business that started centering around Trinidad Carnival, that's why it was so important for me to give back. And mentoring is just something that I love to do because it's helpful to get let me start here. One of the pieces of advice that I got very early on, in my early 20s was take advice from people who are where you want to be. And I took that to heart, definitely, when I heard that. So, I know there are people in my life who have raised me, and I said my village was around me, and I know that I could go to them for certain things, like anything financial. I know I can talk to my dad. He has a great business brain. He has been pretty much self-employed his entire life, and he knows a lot about that stuff. So, I know there's certain people that I can go to. There's certain mentors in my life who definitely I stand on their shoulders. So it's really important for me to be that person for somebody else, because there are many of us, we think we need to do it on our own. And I'm guilty of that, definitely, throughout many times in my life, thinking that I needed to do it alone and I didn't have help. But the minute that I actually shifted and thought, okay, well, who can I actually talk to about this? Things just started to look different and feel different in my body. The energy was just different. So if I can be that person for someone where they feel that they're all alone and they need to do it all by themselves, if I can be that person for somebody, then, I've done my job. I've basically done my job, because we are all here to serve. So if there's somebody that I can talk to and mentor through whatever they're going through, then I love doing that too.
Mm-hmm. And you hit the head on the nail. It's about serving. And I think that once people realize as a part of their business that that's what the real purpose is versus, yes, we all love to make money. We obviously know when we're in business, we want to make money, but when you put the money to the other side and put the purpose up front, then you really truly understand who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how fast you make the money. It's, are you really truly giving what you said that you're going to do? And it's just no different than being here and the listeners listening to what you're saying and they're learning. And that's what this is all about. Women Small Business Initiative for me is about resources. Every show is about providing those resources, sharing those stories, and understanding that, yes, we are human, but at the same time, these are the things that you're going to go through. These are the things that you have to understand what you're about when you decide that you want to come into business. And our journeys are all somewhat the same when it comes to the ups and downs of being in business, but at the same time, it's that fulfilled journey of the love of what you do and sharing it. And like you said, and making sure that these women are being mentored appropriately when they know that they need something. And you're definitely right. The hardest part about being in business that we sometimes do hate to ask for help, because we feel like we have the answers, that's why we're coming in business. But at the end of the day, you don't know everything. And then when you can learn to put all those pieces together, it's like making a pie or a cake, you have all the ingredients, and once you have all the ingredients, it all comes together. So so to hear the passion in your voice, it's just astonishing to me. It just flows. So when I hear you talk about it, and I'm sitting here imagining you on these trips or just putting it together, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Isha is at the top of her. She's like flying right now. You can just hear it in you. So it's amazing. It's great because you're the person everybody wants to work with.
Right? Definitely. As my husband says, everybody loves Isha. Everybody loves to work with Isha.
Exactly. And it's like that commercial. Everybody likes Mike, He eats anything.
Right?
So this is Isha on the other side.
I love that.
So, now we got a new tagline for you there, Isha.
Right? That's actually, I'm going to take that one if that's okay with you, Kimberly.
Perfectly fine. Just make sure I get my percentage. No,
right?
Oh my goodness. All right. So now that I'm being crazy, so I do want to touch bases a little bit about your book. So tell me, you're an international best-selling author. What is your book about?
So I am actually a two-time author. So the first book is actually called Finding Your Purpose and Realizing Your Infinite Potential. And it is co-authored with Leslie Thomas Flowers and 14 other brilliant women business owners. And so that was the first book. The second book, which was only authored by myself, is Carnivalista Lifestyle. And it is, I like to describe it like this, and it might sound like a strange way to describe it, but I like to think of it as if Eat, Pray, Love met How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and they hooked up at Trinidad Carnival, then that's my book, essentially.
Well, so Stella got your groove back #2. So if y'all are listening out here, come find Isha. She's got it.
that is my book. So it's part love story because it weaves together the story of how Tarek and I met and when we met at Trinidad Carnival. Mm-hmm. It weaves together the starting of our business together and how that flowed, all at the same time somehow. And chronicles my business journey as well. And growing up Caribbean. There's so many things in there, but there's so many nuggets that are in there. And growing up Caribbean, because my parents are from Trinidad. So it weaves in those nuggets of knowledge that I grew up hearing from my mom, like two-man rat can't live in the same hole. Like each chapter has a title that is Trini wisdom or Caribbean wisdom, because many of the Trinidadian sayings that I grew up with, they are throughout the Caribbean in some way, shape, or form. It might even be in Spanish too, in Puerto Rico or in other islands in the Caribbean, but they're very, very similar lessons, right? Okay. So, that's really what the book is about in a nutshell.
Wow. Well, I definitely love your books. And the first one, I mean, we were just talking about purpose. So it was just like it was meant to be, we kind of just all came together full circle. And then, of course, the love story now, it's just beautiful. I definitely have to get this book because, like I said, the way you make things sound. I think I love about it is that you're talking about yourself, but at the same time, I'm sure the storyline is something that like everybody is wondering, like, oh wow, a love story and the Carnivalista, doing the Carnival Caribbean experience, every woman's dream. Okay, so you got us all beat. You got us all beat here. So. You're going to talk to both of y'all.
Definitely do that.
We got to talk to you and Tarek and find out, hey, what's the secret here? So we can all get right. What's the deal?
And all joking aside, Kimberly, the one question I get asked the most, and over the 10 years of being in business, it's not about, how much are your packages. It's not about what hotel are you staying at. It's not about that. It's about, wow, you met your husband at Trinidad Carnival? How did that happen? The number one question without fail.
And that's what sells. It's like, I don't care about everything else. Just tell me how I can find my husband. Okay, what do I need to do? That's really what
that's what my client, that's what they say. I'm going to Carnival to find my husband like Esha. Let's do this, okay?
See, you never knew that you were putting it all out there like that. And then here it is. The business is all turned around based on the love and the experiences that you have. So, I mean, hey, how can you do it any other way, right? It's perfect.
It all works. It all works.
It is perfect. And it does, because, when you think about it this way, obviously you're not the only travel experience out there, but when you have that basic, not basic, but you have a purpose behind it, and so much the love and the experiences that you're putting into it makes it more authentic. So people are more willing to just dive into it, because it's easy to say, okay, well, let me see who I can talk to about travel, but they're not giving me that experience that I want to hear and that I want to feel. Right. So then it does go back just to what's the numbers, how much is this going to cost me? It becomes more of just about a contract versus the real experience of wanting to take that trip. And so your dynamics of putting everything that you love into this package makes people not concerned about what it costs. They really just want to have truly just the experience. And that's the beauty of your business.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you there. I've had people travel with because now we're not the only, Carnival package for any Caribbean Carnival providers out there. Back in 2012 and maybe even 2013, we were the only one. But, many other businesses have caught on. And, we have other people who come to us and said, oh, I use XYZ company. And yeah, they don't do it like you do it. Right. There's something about your secret sauce. There's something that you do that's totally different from anybody else on the market. So, and I take that with pride, definitely, because I pride myself so much on the customer experience and how we can make their lives seamless through travel. And even a measure of love, definitely, because I just have this intense love for the Caribbean Carnival culture and just for the Caribbean in general, just having roots there and being able to support small business owners like myself in the Caribbean, throughout the Caribbean. It's just all love. So it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the key. Like I said, you got the sauce and you have all the ingredients, you put it together, and that's what people are looking for. It's very easy, like I said, just to go out and buy a package, but having the experience makes a huge, huge difference. So congratulations on what you're continuing to do, and I'm hoping everything will be lifted by spring or summer so you can move forward on your experiences with everybody's Caribbean experiences. Because look, I'm gonna have to raise my hand and be like, I'll be looking for you, Esha. Okay, so you got to get my number. I'm like, I need an experience. Okay.
Well, thank you for
an experience.
Kimberly. We would be honored to have you for sure.
Well, thank you. I would definitely be looking into that. But I have a couple more questions before we end this evening. So one of my main questions I always ask my guests is, if someone was to come walk up to you today and ask about starting a business, what advice would you give them?
Oh boy. Start with what you love. Start with what you really love to do, because it's your passion and your love for doing whatever it is that will get you through this thing called entrepreneurship. Seriously.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, yes, really have that passion, whatever that fire is. Find a way to monetize it and turn it into a business, because, as I said, that passion, that fire, that love is what's going to get you through the days when you got to reconcile your bank account, or you got to do all of the other unfun stuff that goes along with entrepreneurship, right?
Exactly.
Especially in the early days, right?
Exactly. You're absolutely right. Well, that's definitely some great information to pass on to everybody and advice. So for those who are listening, you heard it live here. But I also would like for you, Esha, just to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. And if you have anything else new coming up, please share that information with us tonight.
Okay, wonderful. And thank you again for having me, Kimberly. This was so much fun.
You're welcome.
I didn't have to wipe a few tears of laughter from my eyes while we were giggling away.
I warned you.
Thank you. I know, right? You really did. You did, yes. So I really appreciate you having me on. And to everyone else who's listening, you can find anything about me and Events by Ashé and any of our trip experiences and the services that we have to offer at TrinidadCarnivalPackages.com. That's TrinidadCarnivalPackages.com. And pretty much everything is there. You can contact us there. You can follow us on all of our social media profiles directly from the website, and just find out more about what we do and how we can serve.
All right. Well, again, I do thank you for coming on and spending some time with me this evening. It has absolutely been such a joy. But before we go off tonight, do you have any last words for our listeners?
Last words. I would like to, if I could, mention an event that we have that's coming up in February. It is called the Ultimate Galentine's Day Party. And as I don't know if you're familiar with this, Kimberly, or anyone listening, but Galentine's Day is the day before Valentine's Day. And it was created as a day to show love and support to your sisters, your girls, who, especially during this time, have been providing support to you throughout this year. So the Ultimate Galentine's Day Party is 2 events. It includes a virtual wine tasting and a virtual fun and pleasure after party. It's just going to be a really, really great time. Part proceeds are going to benefit InStep Incorporated, who works with women who are affected by domestic violence by providing them with placement services, job training, and really getting them back on their feet after leaving an abusive relationship. So I'm really, really honored to be supporting that organization. And you can definitely find some more information about any of our virtual events directly from our website as well.
All right. Well, thank you again. And like I tell everybody this evening, this has been a pleasure to have you on, Esha. It's been amazing. And for those who are listening, I hope that you not just enjoyed our laughs, but definitely enjoyed those golden nuggets that Esha was passing on and talking about what it means to have the passion and have the opportunity to experience the Caribbean experience and just go out and enjoy life a little bit more, but allowing them to take off all of the weight off your shoulder and let Esha and her company do it all for you. So I hope you all, like I said, enjoyed this evening's show. And again, we want to thank my sponsor, 1 Minute Motivation. And we're going to listen to them for a second here.
1 Minute Motivation is a one-stop destination for high-quality podcast and motivational videos. We create content to instigate and impact your souls to push forward. Our aim is to create a positive mentality in your minds in just 1 minute. We value time, as it waits for none. Check out our podcast and videos to get motivated and become relentless. Follow us on Instagram at 1MinuteMotivation_.
And again, like I said, I thank you for coming on and listening to me this evening. We'll be back next week with another great guest. And you can follow us anytime on iHeartRadio, and plus our other 12 other media platforms. But you can also download the mobile app on Google Play, or you can listen to the podcast wherever you have. Enjoy listening to it. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening, and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.